Hi everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel and welcome to a video that I haven't filmed in 2 years. I started this A to Z series of me where I'd come up with 2 or 3 topics to talk about in correspondence to the letter. And yeah, it's been 2 years since I uploaded as part of this series, and I don't know how that's happened. But here we are on letter H, and yeah, I'm going to talk about 3 different topics. I'm going to try and make this video as quick as I can, but yes, as you have read in the title, the topics of today's letter is going to be houseplants, which health, and holidays. So as always, I have linked down below the other A to G letters of A to Z of me that I have done so far. So if you guys are interested in watching any of those, they will all be linked down below in the description. But if this is the first video that you've clicked on, then hello. So I'm going to start off with holidays. So I've been quite lucky that I've managed to get away to quite a few different places in the last couple of years, especially since I started my relationship with Alan. I think that's really when my holidays and visiting places around the world really kicked off, because before that I only would ever go to Portugal on holiday with my family to see family. So I will try and insert some pictures obviously as I'm talking of like the different places that I've been to. First proper holiday that I ever went to was Mykonos in Greece, when I was with my boyfriend for, I think we'd been together for a couple of months or like a year. I can't remember, but yeah, Mykonos was the most incredible holiday I've ever been to. Really stepped out of my comfort zone in terms of like doing some water sport things that I never thought I would do, and it was just like my first experience of what a proper holiday should be like, you know, sun, sea, sand, chilled vibes. Like, it was just incredible. So that was an amazing first holiday to have been on. I've also obviously been to various different places in Portugal because that's where I'm from and that's where my family is from. But I really loved visiting Porto. That's like such a nice place to visit. Beautiful in terms of how it looks, but also like the food is amazing and it's relatively affordable. My boyfriend's dad is from Porto, so we managed to go there because he was visiting some of his family. So yeah, it's such an amazing place to go. I would definitely recommend it if you haven't been there. I've also been to quite a few places in like Spain or like Spanish islands. So I've been to Lanzarote. That was a really nice holiday. That was probably the best holiday in terms of like staying really healthy as well, because as we know, when we go on holiday we can like easily indulge in like naughty foods and like get off track and things like that. But me and Alan that year, I think it was like 2017 that we went, we were so consistent at the gym, consistent with like eating healthy. We both looked and felt really good, and because of the hotel we were staying at having a gym itself, I think out of the, I can't remember if it was 10 days that we were there for, we went to the gym like every day but one. So that just helped us to like feel really good about ourselves whilst we were obviously on holiday. And Ibiza as well was an amazing holiday. That was the first time I had been away with friends, so not just me and Alan. And I can't fault Ibiza as an island. We didn't really go there for like the party scene, but it was just such a beautiful island, so much to do, beautiful beaches. Yeah, I would definitely go back to Ibiza, that's for sure. We've also, when I say we, I mean me and Alan, because obviously most of these places that I've been to has been with him. But we've also done a city break to Barcelona. That was for our 2-year anniversary. So a lot of city breaks that we've done have been for our anniversary, which lands in January. So not great in terms of like weather in January, but great for finding some really cheap deals to do city breaks. So Ibiza was the last time I did a beach holiday, but we've done loads of like city breaks in between. So Barcelona was one. We've also gone to Budapest, which is in Hungary. I've actually been there twice now. So Alan in 2020, and then I recently went with my sister last year in September. So I got to experience it in both like cold winter as well as like warmer weather, so that was really nice. We have been to Krakow in Poland. Definitely would recommend Krakow in Poland. Whilst we were there, we went to visit Auschwitz, which if you're brave enough to do, it's definitely a must once in a lifetime experience. It's not a nice experience, of course, as we know what happened there, but it's definitely something that opens your eyes, and something that you know, I would say you definitely need to experience if you feel capable of doing so. But it was such a beautiful place and really cheap as well, in terms of like food and things like that. So if you're looking for an affordable place to visit and a pretty place to visit, then Krakow is definitely up there on my recommendations. I've also been to Rome in Italy. I went there a couple of years ago when I was with my ex-partner, and Rome is definitely somewhere that I want to go back to and explore again. It's such a big city. You definitely have to go there more than once, I think, to be able to see everything that it has to offer. But it's definitely a beautiful place, quite expensive, but I suppose if you find the right time of the year to go, then it's not too bad. Recently been to, well, I've been to Paris quite a few times in France because my dad's brother actually lives very close to Paris, so I've visited there quite a few times, luckily, and went there last year for like my 30th birthday, kind of, and actually climbed the Eiffel Tower, which was one of the things that I really wanted to do on my bucket list. So I managed to do that with my boyfriend, my sister and her boyfriend, and that was really cool. And then from France, we drove to Bruges in Belgium for my actual 30th birthday. And again, Bruges is one of those places that you don't really hear many people talk about, but it's definitely somewhere I would recommend. It's just so picturesque, it's beautiful. Everything is kind of next to each other. You can easily walk around and get to places to you know, to do all the touristy things, I guess. But yeah, Bruges was a really beautiful place as well. I hope to continue to be able to, you know, visit different places in the world, even if it is just in Europe. I'm absolutely fine with that. And let's see where this year takes us to. It's Alan's 30th this year, so I've already booked somewhere. Okay, second section I'm going to talk about is houseplants. Okay, now I never thought that me and Alan would be the people to like buy loads of houseplants and then name them all, but it's kind of happened in the 2 and a bit years that we've been living in this house. And I'm not gonna lie, we're actually pretty good houseplant parents. I say we, I think Alan is more of a houseplant father than me being a houseplant mother. But I will insert some pictures of all of our different plants whilst I talk about them. Please don't ask me what these plants are, okay? I can't actually remember most of them, what they are. But if you're watching and you're a plant expert, I'm sure you'll be able to figure out what they are. So our first house plant was given to us by Alan's friends, or our friends, Tracy and Gav, so we named it Gacy, and Gacy is thriving. Gacy is, well, maybe in the pictures that I'm going to insert or videos, they're not thriving much, but at some point all of these plants have been thriving. We've then got Elma 2.0 to be exact, because this is the second plant of this kind that we've had, and she needs reviving. I don't know what's going on with her, but she's not doing too well at the moment. Then we've got Edward. We've got Gin, because he's obviously a ginseng plant or a bonsai. We've got Charlie Frank, which is a Swiss cheese plant, I believe. He is looking crazy. His leaves are all over the place, but we kind of love it. I think he needs a bigger pot, to be honest. Then we've got Lola, and we've got Thea. Lola is our peace lily, and then Thea, again, not looking too great. I don't know what's going on with her. We've got two money plants, which are typically known as jasmine plants, I believe. So we've got big jasmine and little jasmine. And then this one is called Rosie, named after my goddaughter, because she actually gave this to me when I did my graduation. Again, she's not looking too great at the moment, but she does flower when the time is right. So just give her a couple more weeks and I'm sure she'll be thriving. This guy here was part of 3 little like cactuses or like dry plants that were in a pot together, but they were just getting too squished, so I took them out. I don't know if this is Tom, Dick or Harry, but it's one of them. And yeah, I'll show you the other 2, which are upstairs. Tom, Dick or Harry, not really sure who's who here. And then we have Phil here. Phil is looking a bit strange. Phil looks a bit like a cabbage right now, and I'm not sure why, but this is Phil. And then we had these, which one was called Ben, one's Jerry. Again, I can't remember who is who, but that's them. This one we named Alan because he was like looking all crazy, and so we named him after Alan, who is also kind of crazy in a good way. Fern, she's relatively new. This one doesn't actually have a name, this snake plant kind of looking thing. And then we also have one in our guest room, which also doesn't have a name. And in my previous YouTube video, I asked people to write down in the comments and suggest a name. I think we got 1 comment. We've not actually decided yet, so still a nameless plant. I just want to cut in here whilst I'm editing and say I forgot this plant here. This is Xanthe, named after a lovely colleague that I used to work with who gave me this plant. I also forgot about Spike. Sorry, Spike. Too many plants. That is our little lot. So that is our plant family, and I'm sure we will have more come and go as the years go by. And the last thing is health. So I mean, compared to a lot of people out there, I'm quite lucky when it comes to my health. But then I guess you could also flip it the other way. I guess it depends on how you see the situation, really. But I wanted to talk about health because there's been a couple of occasions in my lifetime where I have been admitted to the hospital for various different reasons. And I just wanted to kind of share a little bit of why those situations have occurred. So the obvious reason for some of the admissions to hospital have been like, you know, normal childhood injuries that you get, breaking arms, things like that from running and falling over and breaking it. I also had a situation which is kind of crazy, and people always laugh at me when I tell them this, but I mean, it wasn't funny at the time. But when I started, just shortly after I started university in 2014, my mum accidentally ran over my foot with the back wheel of a car as I was getting out. She didn't realize I was getting out. And so there was a car behind her, like honking at her and like shouting at her to move forward. And so she panicked and she didn't realize that I was getting out of the car. And so as she's driven forward, my foot was like under the wheel and it was crushed, and I was on crutches for a while, and bless her, she felt so bad for such a long time. But you know, she didn't realize that I was getting out of the car, so that was that situation. As a child as well, you know, when I was very young, I had to go to hospital. Well, this was while I was still living in Portugal actually. I split my head open. I don't know if you'll be able to see because I've got makeup on, but I do have a little scar on my forehead because I was running towards one of my cousins, and he opened the door and the handle went into my head as he flung the door open, and it split my head open. My family do love me, by the way. These were just unfortunate situations that happened. And so I had to go to the hospital. Obviously I don't remember this, but I had to go to the hospital at the time and get like stitches put in my head. And then obviously there was the dreaded hospital admission when I was 11 years old, where I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, and that was like probably one of the most life-changing hospital admissions I've ever had, to be honest. Came as a shock to me and my family. So there was that, and then following that, obviously in my teenage years where I rebelled and wasn't giving my medication as I should be, there was also loads of hospital admissions because I just became so unwell as my body was starved of the medication that it needs to stay alive. So this is where I say that even though type 1 diabetes is a life-changing condition that you literally have no day off from, you can still live a perfectly normal life if you give your medication and you look after yourself as well as possible. Missing insulin doses, as I was doing as a teenager, and as I know many teenagers do still go through now, is just not an option long term. Like, it just does make you really sick. So there was multiple admissions for that. And then over the years I've had things like liver scans, ultrasounds, urine tract infections, so kidney infections. I've had kidney stones. I've had loads of blood tests, and a chest infection as well. And some of these things are like, or can be complications because of diabetes, but also it's, my immune system isn't probably as strong as someone who doesn't have type 1 diabetes. So I have an autoimmune disease. It means that I'm gonna take slightly longer to get over illnesses sometimes. I'm not saying all the time, or that I can be a bit more prone to getting you know, illnesses and things like that. I don't know, but it seems that, you know, when I get unwell or when something happens, like, it can take me a long time to get over it, or it can like really knock me out. So the chest infection was quite recent actually. It wasn't this Christmas just gone, it was the one before that, and I think a lot of people were unwell. Obviously this isn't like, not all of these things that I've spoken about have resulted in a hospital admission, but you know, for the chest infection, for example, I had to get some antibiotics to clear the chest infection, and I was on inhalers, or it's been like calls to the GP or 111, which is the non-emergency line here in the UK. My most recent hospital admission was to have my appendix surgically removed. Now, for years, and I mean over 10 years now, it's been a reoccurring issue where I've had like query appendicitis, and I get this like really sharp pain around my abdomen, the right side specifically. I've suffered with abdominal pain for quite a long time now for like unknown reasons, and TMI here, TMI, but I've always suffered with like constipation, like ever since I was a baby, really struggled with like regularly going. So I thought, oh, maybe that's got a part to play in the abdominal pain, plus I get UTIs, plus I've had kidney stones, I've been told I've had ovarian cysts, like all these different things. But twice in my past I have had query appendicitis. The first time I actually underwent surgery, like keyhole surgery, and they didn't remove my appendix. This was when I was like 19-ish or 20. The second time I had query appendicitis was when I was told I had ovarian cysts. And then the third time, which was very recently, I was like, look, enough is enough. Like the second time this happened, I was told that if I got all these symptoms again, the likelihood of me needing my appendix out was going to be quite high. So, you know, pain returned. I actually made an Instagram post about this, which received a lot of comments, a lot of likes, and I just can't thank people enough who messaged me and were like, wow, this is you know, so amazing of you to post, because it's something different from what you would normally see on Instagram, you know, filtered post photos. No, this was raw me in hospital, looking like death was around the corner. But yeah, you know, after 10 hours in A&E on one day, being sent home, came back the next day, had an ultrasound which confirmed and showed that my appendix was inflamed, and then being told to starve myself for hours in preparation for theatre, and then having to wait until the next morning to actually go to theatre and get my appendix removed. Like, it was a lot. And yeah, it's obviously taken me and taking a couple of weeks to fully recover, fully get back to my normal self. It's going to be at least 4 to 6 weeks before I can actually go back to the gym and lift weights again, which kind of breaks me because I was actually doing really well at the gym before all of this happened. I felt like I was building my strength again, and now I'm back to square one. But yeah, that's like the most recent one. And you know, I mentioned a few seconds ago that I've had things like liver scans and things like that because I get regular blood tests. Every couple of months I have to have blood tests for my diabetes side of things, and that's kind of a good thing and a bad thing in a way that you know, things get picked up, and one of my liver enzyme results was high, which meant that I could potentially have some sort of liver damage. Still haven't quite got to the bottom of what that could have been, to be honest. I'm still due to have more tests for that, but at the moment, and even before those tests were picked up, I haven't had any symptoms of anything that I'm aware of. But yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things, you know. It could be a lot worse, it could be a lot better. But we have to deal with the cards that we're dealt with, and you know, I just hope that amongst all of these things that have happened, it's just making me a stronger person in terms of my health. And you know, if there's things to come in the future, then bring it on. As long as I have people around me to support me through those tough times, then, you know, I'm hopeful that I can just get through anything. Really sorry if that was a really long-winded video. If no one watches this video, it's absolutely fine, because I like watching them back and remembering the things that I have mentioned and why I have mentioned them in these A to Z videos. But if you have made it this far, then thank you so much. Leave it a like or leave me a comment in the comment box if you have made it to the end of this video. You are a trooper. Just comment with a star emoji, why not? And yeah, that is everything for today's video, guys. I will see you hopefully not in 2 years time again with the next letter, but I will see you very soon with another video, hopefully. Bye.